Hello again, it's Monster Forge here with another retro toy review. This time I'm talking about the Rock Lords. And what I have here are just four that I've got in secondhand. Some of them are in okay shape, one of them's in great shape, one of them's in really bad shape. None of them have any of their accessories, but I got them all secondhand. But a little backstory on the Rock Lords. Rock Lords was a subset of the GoBots toy line. GoBots popped out in 1983, and they were put out by the Tonka company. But originally they had been, I think they were. I'm trying to remember. Yeah, I think they were. I think they were Bandai toys back in Japan before that, and it had been Machine Robo. But then that was brought over to the United States as GoBots. And after they, I think, now I'm not absolutely sure, but I think that after they had used up all of the Machine Robo designs and characters and all that, I think they made some of their own. And the Rock Lords were part of that. So the Rock Lords, they were in a movie that came out in theaters, because I remember going and seeing it in the theater. It was GoBots Battle of the Rock Lords, and they popped up in that, and that was in 1986. They were kind of, GoBots always tried to kind of fight with Transformers in the toy market, and so whenever Transformers movie came out in '86, there was a GoBots movie that came out, and I remember enjoying it quite a bit as a kid. I don't think it was anything Oscar worthy or anything like that. Hanna-Barbera animation, I think, if I'm not mistaken. If somebody knows any different information, feel free to share it. But I've had a few Rock Lords over the years. The only one I had back in the day was the character Granite, and I don't have him now. He's one I would like to have. He was a gray rock, and he turned into a gray and kind of this teal bluish color for the parts that were between the rock parts. But I'm going to review these guys in order from the one I like the least to the one I like the most. And the first one is this, and this is Slimestone. And this one's in really bad shape. Like originally this was chromed out and it was really shiny, and a lot of the chrome has worn away, and evidently somebody tried to paint it yellow at some point. Yeah, so this one was somebody else's before I got it, which all of these, like I said, are secondhand. But to transform this guy, you flip these out, which are his feet, and this guy's really floppy, like super floppy. And you flip out his little arms, and I may or may not have the, oh yeah, I got it. And then he's got these shoulder things. And now if he was in really good shape, I'd probably like him a lot more, but this one's in really bad shape. Like most times I can't even get him to stand up. Oh, look there. Do it now. Most times all I gotta do is touch it. Oh, I see. His little hands have caught on his legs there, so that kind of helps him stand up a little bit. But most of the times if you have his arms anywhere else, he just kind of goes and falls over. The coolest thing about this guy is his head. And yeah, he's got a cool little chomper head, and it's just screwed in, but it rotates. And almost all of the Rock Lords, the heads only turn a certain amount either way. They were molded with some type of little tab inside there, inside the slot that they turn in, that keeps them from going all the way around. I never really could tell. Like, I think if I remember correctly, the Rock Lords were not supposed to be robots. I think they were like actual creatures made out of rock. I might be wrong. It's been forever since I saw the Rock Lords movie, and I think I only ever saw it the one time I saw it in the theater. So it's nothing like Transformers the movie, where I basically watch it as often as possible. Half the time, if you look in my DVD player, Transformers the movie is in there. But anyway, he'd be a neat little robot if he wasn't in such crap shape. I keep saying robot. I don't know that he's a robot. He looks like a robot, but you know, he'd be a neat little figure if he were in better shape. But he's just not my favorite design. But he's pretty cool, and he might be to your liking. And like I said, if he was in better shape, I'd probably appreciate him a little bit more. This one is, and you have to forgive me, I have to look at the names of these guys because I can't always remember exactly. Yeah, this is Sticks and Stones. And this guy is pretty interesting looking. This one, I don't know what happened to him, because this is not, it looks almost like somebody leaned him back on something hot, because it looks like a melted pattern in it of something hot, or something metal maybe. I don't know exactly what it was. It's interesting looking. I don't think the figures normally come with that on it. That's why I say it looked like it might have been something hot. But he's I don't know if he's supposed to be a particular type of rock, but he's green. Let's see, you flip this around and you flip this around. And you flip his little footsies, and he's kind of loose too. And you flip these around here, and oh yeah, I wanted to mention, this guy came with a weird looking little gun thing that fit in his claw. And this is Sticks and Stones, and he came with it was sort of like a battle staff thing, or a club, and it had two ends of it that were spiky. And he held it in the middle. He's got a weird crotch. Just saying that, you know, right away. And he's got cool nails, though. It's one thing he's got going for him. And he's got a cool mouth. It kind of looks like somebody took maybe a red Sharpie to this face, because it's the colors aren't quite the same. And he doesn't look like any of the images I've seen of him, but I might be wrong. And that may be the case with the toes as well. I do know that the original one, you know what I think? You know what I think? Because this one doesn't look like it's Sharpied, and this face doesn't look like it's Sharpied. It looks almost like maybe a kid differentiated by putting them that way. Or maybe the original's like that. I'm not sure. I never had this one back in the day, so I can't really tell you. Not that my memory would be all that good anyway. But I meant to mention the articulation. He's got the neck is a swivel here on this guy. His shoulders it's a ball joint in there. It's very loose. And he also can move his shoulder up and down. His little hands can go in and out. The legs on him don't go forward, but they go out to the sides. And he has a pivot at the ankle. So that's his articulation. Now this guy's articulation, he can actually, you can pull his arms around to the front, so you can get him punching somebody. They rotate all the way around, and his are pretty loose except in spots. It's weird. A lot of times these guys' joints were die cast, and so sometimes that stuff sticks. His elbows do bend, but it's only like a gorilla bend, and he's got like his wrists go around a certain part of the way and they stop. So yeah, he can bring his arm up to his face and cover his face up. And he's got, of course, hip articulation that goes only that far back. This rotates, and he has like, he's got a joint here, but it's almost useless. Like there's only that much range on it. So yeah, I mean, these guys were from a time period where toys weren't really all that articulated, except for maybe like G.I. Joe figures. And of course some of the Japanese toy lines like Microman and all that were were really articulated. But yeah, this is Sticks and Stones, and one thing I like about him is he does have the swivel here, so you can give him a good, standing pose if he'll stand. That's the next thing. Now this one is Tombstone. I know that much. He was this guy is from the second series of this guy. Boy, what did I do? Yeah. This guy is from the second series, and the rest of these are from the first series of Rock Lords. But this is Tombstone, and I like this guy a lot. You flip out, and he's a little loose. All of them are a little loose, except for the last one. And these things right here pop out, and he has a really cool kind of spindly arm, and another one over here. But this guy has the coolest head. Look at this guy. Really cool, and you can see like he's got a cool chest molded in there. And he's just really neat. Oh, I didn't realize. Oh man, his head can really. That's the first time I ever realized that joint could be manipulated to go out like that. So yeah, I don't particularly remember what he looked like in the cartoon, whether that was how he had his neck or not. Like I said, it's been forever since I watched cartoon. I kind of want to see it now just to see how either good or bad it was. It obviously wasn't something that stayed in my memory like Transformers the movie. So, but I'd give it another shot. But yeah, I like this guy. He's a pretty spiffy looking dude. I like that color green, which green is one of my favorite colors anyway. As far as articulation goes, his neck goes all the way down. This part, like at the head, it goes up and down. There's no turning there. His shoulders only really go up and down. They go out and then they bend like this. They don't turn or anything like that. They're solid in there. But his hips, he's got a good range on them. They go all the way back, they go all the way this way, and they go out to the side, so he can give a big kick to the side like that. And he's got knees. These are real floppy on this one. Nothing at the feet, and his feet are kind of hollow in there, but he has enough of a heel that kind of holds him up. And man, everything's dusty around here. It's the story of my life. But he'll, if you balance him just right, he stands okay. And he looks pretty good with the other guys. But this is my favorite of these. This is Boulder. And Boulder wasn't my favorite back in the day, but I really like him now. I think he's a really cool, like the rock looks really cool. It's that kind of marbly swirled plastic where they have like two different colors of plastic and it gets swirled. But the way he transforms, you flip these down and he has little tabs here that flip out and become the feet. And he has this that flips over to the back and the arms come out like so. And he looks really cool. And I remember my buddy, my buddy had him back in the day. And I know sometimes we would kind of pretend like, I don't know for what reason, maybe because we couldn't find his hot rod or whatever. He had a hot rod, but we would kind of pretend sometimes that he was hot rod because he has kind of that same look. And I don't remember if Boulder in the movie was like a hot rod type character. I don't really remember much. Like I said, I need to see it. But I think he looks really cool. And this one, the joints are fairly tight on this one compared to the other guys. Articulation-wise, like I said, he's got a head and it only turns, this far because there's something inside of that joint keeping it from going. His arms rotate all the way around. They kind of go in and out a little bit. And it also allows him to kind of butterfly a little bit. He's got a hinge that goes out to the side, and of course they go all the way around. He has elbow articulation all the way up, so he can get his arm up real high. His legs only articulate back at the hip. He's got knees, and you can make his toes point. But I was going through the weapons they had earlier. This guy, Tombstone, came with a weapon. It was like it looked almost like a tuning fork type thing. It was wide and had 2 points on the end of it. But like I said, he didn't come with any weapons when I got him. And Boulder here had a really cool gun. And you see here, like, yeah, it's not on both arms. It's just on this one. He's got a hole right here. And the gun would actually plug into his arm. And it was sort of a red, like a maroon colored gun. And it was really cool looking, like it had what looked like a magazine sticking down out of it, and the gun came out. And in the description on the toy, it said that he had a some kind of, let me see if it's got here. I'm looking at the website right now. Yeah, they call it the power sword, but it just looked like a rifle to me. I never thought it looked like a sword. Maybe the other end of it was pointy. I can't remember. I haven't seen the weapon by itself in a while, so I can't remember if it did or not. But I just think these are really cool figures. Like I said, I can't remember if they're robots or just like rock people, but they kind of look robotic, but that's because of how they're made, I think. You know, they got kind of squared off parts, but that's just to facilitate the transformation. And, you know, the technology at the time and engineering might not have been around, but kind of for a size reference here, you know, a good old Star Wars figure. So they were roughly in line with that. And I know that my buddy and I, when we were kids, we played with these guys with G.I. Joes and Star Wars figures and all that. And we played with them with Transformers too. We didn't really have, you know, like segregated toy play. We put everybody together whenever they would fight. And that was a lot of fun. But yeah, these are what I have of the Rock Lords. Like I said, the only, oh god, sorry, the only real like purchased at that time Rock Lord that I had was Granite, and I don't have him now. But I'm still searching for one that's reasonably priced in reasonable shape. Those two things together make it a little bit difficult, but. Anyway, I just figured I'd share these with you. I like these old toys and old toy memories and stuff like that. And if you have any stories, feel free to share them in the comments. I always like to read people's stories. I know whenever I posted the video about the bootleg Jetfire / Macross Valkyrie, a lot of people shared stories and information about the original Macross series and the toys and Jetfire as well. So feel free to share any info you have about any of these guys and your memories about having Rock Lords and GoBots and whatever when you were a kid. Anyway, this is Monster Forge, and I'll see you in the next one.